Yo, you took,
I know I didn't time that. I didn't time that right.
you know, I was like, he's literally drinking water as it comes up.
Well, I'm telling you, like, because I do the Instagram stuff, it's always like 10 seconds behind. So I thought I had 10 seconds, and I came up here, and I'm like, oh shit, here we are.
You don't have it. You don't have it.
We're live.
Oh man.
But
Hey,
it's
Jake,
been a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Welcome back to the Breakthroughs live stream, Jake. Welcome back. Welcome back to
thanks.
you. Welcome back to me.
And to you as well, and to anybody who's watching live.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it's like we know that these live streams are the most important things, and it's like trying to get our our systems going. We're getting better, but we still, things come up in life. I mean, we still got other things we're doing.
Yeah.
This is a big part of Supply Run, obviously. But there's other things that we got to do. And so sometimes we lose a week.
Yeah. I will say we were essentially prepping like 30 minutes beforehand, just like making sure we're on the same page with like, what are we talking about today? And setting up the cockpit of things, like all of the buttons to click to get this going. And we did it in about 12 minutes instead of 30. So
45 like the first time. We're like,
oh my God.
Like,
we used to be like, are we ready to go live or we're not? And now it's like, just hit the button.
Just hit it. We're just gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. Well, if you are here, welcome to this live stream that we call Breakthroughs Live. Get the breakthrough before something breaks you. And we say that because when we say something breaks you, we're talking about a lot of mental stressors in people's lives that they don't really know is happening. Chad and I have this experience. Chad is dealing with stage 4 lung cancer. He was diagnosed 3.5 years ago. I had 3 strokes when I was 30 years old. And we believe that these 2 events were caused by buried stress that just kind of piles up until something breaks you. And we're here to hopefully talk about these things on a more micro level each live stream to mitigate that from happening to you. So
not only mitigate, and I think one of the things I'm starting to feel moving forward, we've done what, 12? How many of these have we done?
13. This will be 13. So yeah, 12.
So I think after 13, I'm starting to realize like I want to mix in like not only as what we're talking about to prevent, but it's also to help accelerate to whatever the next level is. I say this because of the training I did last week, and in my prep for it, I was really thinking about how the mind operates, right? And it operates in this 2 different states. You're either in survival state or flow state, right? Mm-hmm. You could actually operate in both at the same time. I operate in both. I'm on here, I'm in a flow state, but I'm also operating in some survival. And there's little different levels within each. But I realized that the breakthroughs not only help prevent things, but the breakthroughs also help hit flow state. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's for another conversation.
I agree. Because every time I talk about, I was like, what is this? I was like, it's preventative mental care. But I was like, that is not something that people are like, God, I really need a dose of that.
I think really exciting.
We do need the dose of that, but it's not an approachable way to present it, right? Like people are like, God, I don't want that they don't want these bad things to happen. They feel the pain that we are talking about, but they're not close enough to like something's going to break. I don't know if it's like real until it happens.
Yeah.
So another way we can talk about this is like, instead of just mitigating the disaster that you can't really understand quite yet, how do you just switch into the flow state of life?
Yeah.
And just enjoy it instead of like always be preventing a disaster, which is a negative and scarcity mindset thing.
Totally. I think that's what I started. I was like, wow. And it's funny because it was really after the training, because I had been working on that, for a while. And it just really started was clicking with these different words, this different terminology. I just changed it up, the terminology. And it was all about this. It starts off real simple as navigating pressure and possibility. Everybody feels pressure. Everybody feels possibility, right? But we've been coming in talking about, survival essentially, like before something breaks you. And it still makes sense. It's 100% there because we're basically helping people. our conversations are here to help navigate the pressure before it becomes a problem, but also help you see the possibilities in things so that you can hit like exponential flow.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to like to deal with the pressure or switch into possibility, like the framework we've always used for the live stream is switch into possibility so something bad doesn't happen.
Right.
And what you're saying, and I agree with, because I was like, I don't know, it feels so heavy when we talk about it. It feels like life is a thing to avoid disaster. And like that is not a fun way to live.
Well, it's totally opposite of what we think anyway with supply running. Like we literally go in looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. True. But it's like the solution to mitigate the disaster is to be in the accelerated state, right?
Yes.
Like the solution isn't avoid this. The solution is be in this, and you will avoid it as a byproduct.
Yes. And if something does happen, you're going to be in much better place to handle it.
Yeah. Well, another live stream.
Another breakthrough for us on the breakthrough
on the intro.
On the intro. Like now we realize we got to probably change that up. But I mean, that's what happens when you take a week. When you take a week to 10 days off from live streaming, and you've had time to like process, and then you start back up with the old way. You're like, oh, we're ready for a new version.
That's another topic, which is sometimes you have to step away from everything to come back and be like, oh, wait, I mean, that's a whole supply run thing. That was like a pillar of supply run, which was leave your entire world for 3 weeks. And when you go back to it, you're like, I see it completely differently. Yeah. Anyway.
Wait a minute.
So the week off helped.
All right. It did. I like where we're at. So what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about, and we do this where we kind of take one specific problem of this general feeling of stuck and lost, like this existential stuff. And we're like, okay, let's dissect one thing. And today's is when following other people's blueprints becomes the problem. So
can you explain what you mean by blueprint, other people's blueprints?
Yeah. So I'd say the easiest way to paint a picture is anytime when you have this problem of feeling, we still don't have a better term, like the stuck, lost, adriftness, like I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what the direction is, I don't feel fulfilled or satisfied, or things just aren't the way I want them to be. When we have that feeling, many people turn, myself included, to external things like other people's blueprints. And when I say that, it can come in the form of advice from a family member or a friend. Mm-hmm. It could be you read a book, like a personal development book, and it's like, hey, here's all you have to do to solve all your problems. Just read this book, implement the steps, and things will be incredible. Mm-hmm. And then your bookshelf, all of a sudden, I counted this the other day in boxes. I had over 50 self-help books over the last decade or so. I read maybe half of them. But I remember reading each one. And at the time when I read it years ago, I was like, oh my God, this is the answer. This is all I ever needed was this blueprint, and all of my problems will be solved. And then you try to implement, and you're like, okay, the author's life that created this blueprint is not my life. And so the variables are completely different. My experience is completely different. And alas, it doesn't work. And so the problem becomes, as I start searching, you're hoping and seeking to consume other people's solutions that worked for those people, but might not necessarily work for you. So that is what I mean when I say blueprint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Basically, it's everybody's step-by-step guide to fix your problem.
Yeah. It's what marketers do. Every ad you see online, which I know because we're marketers. Yeah.
We write these things.
The goal is, what is the pain point? Here is a perfect solution for that pain point that no one's ever created before. If you just buy this thing, it is a silver bullet to solve all your problems.
Yeah.
And guess what? Marketing works really well.
Yeah.
And so you buy it, it doesn't work as well. You buy the next thing, it doesn't work as well. Hell, if you sprained your ankle or you have a bad low back or something, right?
Uh-huh.
There's chiropractors, there's masseuses, everybody has their own skill set. And then all of a sudden, they're all pitching to you that their methodology is the only way to solve the problem. Oh yeah,
like this BioBlade. I bought the BioBlade.
I don't know what is it faster release?
Yeah, for my leg. I'm like, oh, it's gonna solve my left hip problem.
Yeah, but it's that. It's like everybody, they learned a skill that worked for them maybe, or they just went to school for it. I don't know, whatever. And then they created their solution, and then they pitch it to everyone as this is the only way. This is the only thing you need to solve it. And the truth is that I feel that I learned this after reading about 20 self-help books, realizing that I had to stop changing, like, oh, it's completely different. I just read this new book. So then I got to change how I do things based on this book. And then I change each book. And then I started recognizing that there were common threads within each book to apply to my own life. And that's when I started like getting little breakthroughs of like, oh, I get it. Like, it comes back to that phrase. Chad, have you ever asked a question in your life where you're like, hey, what is the answer to this problem? And the person said, well, it depends, because that is the most annoying answer, terrible marketing, but it is the answer.
It's the most accurate answer.
Right.
I literally will preface this to people. They'll say, well, how do you do that? I go, you're going to hate this answer, but it depends. What? You know, and I do these keynotes, and I literally start off, and one of the disclaimers I have, I go, there's no absolutes. What I'm about to tell you and teach you, there's no absolutes here. There's always nuance. And I think the issue we're getting at is when people don't they don't think about the nuance. They're so desperate for a solution that they just follow the blueprint of the next influencer, the one I laugh about right now. I laugh about it all the time. He's actually really smart. And he knows he's hitting his one thing, because in marketing, you do have to be specific on your thing. I mean, it's me included, right? Like, I believe that understanding your brain is the number one thing. I believe that because it helps you understand all the rest of these things. But this guy, he is all about detoxing. He literally does reels on like sticking pills up your ass to detox properly.
I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and he's like, no, this is how you do it because it's going to be better. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm trying to live my life. I get that this is your content. And he goes hard on that. Right?
Doesn't he like go out in the middle of the woods by him, you know, like, or like he's like by himself in a house trying everything. And I was like, yeah, that's one way to live, but that's not how I'm going to live. Yeah. And so like, I don't know, is that my solution or your solution? You know?
Yeah. So the issue then comes down to like, so why are people frustrated? They try all these blueprints to get the thing they want, to be the person they want to be, to solve the problem they want to solve. And we're basically saying what?
I think what we're saying is, if you feel that, like, if you feel stuck or directionless, and you can kind of look back and say, oh, I keep chasing these shortcuts to how to get out of this stuck existential, like, stress, you know, whatever the stress is in your life, you're chasing other people's solutions to it. That, I think, in our world of these live streams and neuroscience, you are consuming what other people have created because it feels like a shortcut, like an easier solution than having to take on the risk or the element of creation, meaning I need to go try stuff and it might not work out very well always. And I'd like, what we always say is you need to create instead of consume. And so in this case, if you feel stuck or adrift, God, we got to find better terms. If you feel that way and you are just consuming other people's blueprints, you will stay on the loop because you are chasing. And unless one magically appears to work, you're going to be stuck the whole time. And what we're saying is the only way to get out of that feeling is to create your own blueprint, which is harder and more destabilizing because it's not a shortcut. It's a long cut.
Well, and this actually comes back to, once again, the way your brain operates, right? The brain was developed many years ago, and it was purely geared towards survival, right? Purely towards survival because and the brain operates, it wants to operate in the most efficient way possible. And a blueprint to the brain, to you thinking, is the most efficient way possible to that solution. Because here's how you want to think about ancestral math, okay? Back in the day, one missed threat, meaning if you missed the threat,
the lion,
death is likely.
Yeah.
But if you miss one possibility from a new thing, that's an inconvenience, right? If you miss out on this potential thing, your brain's like, that's all right, I'll fit some other time. But if you miss out on one threat, you could be dead.
Yeah. And
so the brain over indexes on efficiency around protecting itself. And anytime you go to somebody else's blueprint, there's a chance that you eliminate threats. But the minute you have to think about your own blueprint and do something outside of the realm, then all of a sudden it becomes a threat. And your brain's like, oh, this could be bad.
A very inefficient thing to do is to trial and error your way through your own blueprint using your own experience. And what's interesting is I always reference like a book, right? Like if you wrote this book, then like this author had this experience and they're like, this is how you do it. And I always think like for them to get to the point of writing this book, they had to go through what we're talking about here, the trial and error, or the like, I messed up and I did this and I did that. And that's not an efficient thing. And your brain does not want to do trial and error, right? It wants to coast as efficiently as possible and as comfortably as possible. And trial and error is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So,
so people get stuck because they don't want to trial and error a new way of doing things. Yet they rely heavily on a blueprint created by somebody else that has completely different context, completely different nuances.
Yeah.
Right. And then people get frustrated or disappointed that the blueprint didn't work.
Which comes back to this other idea, which we didn't put anywhere, which is fine, which is in order to avoid other people's blueprints, you need to put blinders on. So blinders and blueprints, like it's really hard to do because it's much easier to look at what somebody else has done. I mean, this goes down to everything, right? Like you scroll on Instagram and you see someone else's life that you know nothing about and you don't put blinders on. You're like, ugh, I wish my life was like that. And their life could be terrible. You just don't know, right? Like and you got to shut that out to be able to create your own solution. You can't look at random people's experiences and say, that's my solution.
Yeah.
And that, I think that appears a lot. Like there's probably a lot of anecdotes. I mean, I have my own people like giving me advice on like, oh, you should just do this and this. I was like, I really wasn't complaining about my life, but okay, thanks for the advice. And then I would ask them the same thing back to them and they would avoid talking about it because they did not like how it was going for them. I was like, why would I follow your blueprint if you don't even like your blueprint? Anyway, other frustrations. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a dime a dozen for me, like people trying to give me all these cancer blueprints and just got to do this, you just got to do that. It gets to the point where it's like you realize if you do that, if you constantly, and I did that at the beginning of the diagnosis, I was all these blueprints. I got to go vegan. I got to do ketogenic. I got to do all sorts of different shit. Right? Yeah, you got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. And then at one point I realized all these inputs of everybody's blueprints don't even apply to me. Some obviously help. Some do. Yeah. Don't eat, Sour Patch Kids. Probably not a good idea. Yeah. Pretty good blueprint there. Yeah. Okay.
That's like taking the principles of that's what I mean by like, you're taking the common threads of like, okay, this is generally accepted that my body doesn't do better eating Sour Patch Kids.
Right. Exactly.
Is it the solution? No, but it can contribute to the solution.
And so it's like, at one point I just realized I'm the doctor, man. Like I'm the one I had to make everything change when I'm the one who decided to be making my own blueprint. And that was scary as hell, man. That's scary as hell. Cause I don't know. And I have to try things out. And I'm like, one miss on a try and it could be done. But I just had to, other people's blueprints weren't doing it, So I'm like, well, got nothing left to lose but my own blueprint. I don't know. And so then you got the blinders part. because not only do I have to like create my own blueprint, you know, but then I still get bombarded with all these other blueprints. And it makes me second guess all the time. I've been second guessing for years, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really hard. And I have to put blinders on every single morning. I literally start my morning, you know, in this deep mental work. And it's literally putting on blinders every morning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think we were talking before this live stream. We're like, well, like we do learn stuff from when people teach us stuff. Like it's not like ignore all input. It's not ignore all inputs.
Of course not.
But
we teach stuff.
Right.
We talk about stuff.
We're doing it here.
We're doing it here.
You should challenge what we're telling you. But like in the same way, like what we are saying oftentimes here, like our blueprint is actually a skill. And I think this is important. Oftentimes when we talk, when people are chasing blueprints, so to speak, they're chasing the result without any of the effort or the skill involved in that, getting that result.
Yes.
And again, that's the marketing aspect. Like, hey, just get the result and ignore all of the it depends stuff in the middle.
Right.
And, you know, the thing about brain science and mental work and teaching that as a skill or imparting knowledge, like, I don't know, as a coach or you can do this by reading a book or taking it from a course, but it is like learning the skill so that you can apply it to all of the it depends stuff in your life to get the result. And I think I like this analogy of, we played soccer growing up, so we bring up soccer sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like getting a blueprint. What people are promising is like the blueprint to win a soccer game. And that is just not how it works. You can't just be like, hey, just follow these steps and you'll win the game. What it is not imparting is, well, who are your teammates and who are the people you're playing against and what's the weather? And are you good at these skills? Like if you just read a book that said, if you just pass it at this time and you score at this time, you'll win the game. Like it just doesn't work. Whereas there's this other layer, and it's more of a methodology or a skill blueprint where it's like, here's how to learn the skill of playing the game as well as you possibly can. And now you've created more opportunity for you to win, right? But like, it depends on you. You got to do it.
Yeah. Well, and then if you want to talk back to what we like, the self-directed neuroplasticity stuff, right? That's basically where you go in and you change the way you think about stuff. It's an absolute skill, right?
Yeah.
I'm not giving when I teach this stuff, I'm not giving a blueprint how to fix your life. That's up to you. But what I'm saying is the self-directed neuroplasticity, the ability to look at your thoughts and change your thoughts and approach things differently, is a skill that you can learn. And obviously I plant my flag here. I believe it's the most important skill to learn. Right. But I can't do all the other stuff. So my blueprint is simply, it's not a blueprint to X. It is a skill that I would teach. And then you design the blueprint based on the skill that you now have. Does that work?
I mean, it's like, instead of promising them, hey, if you just follow these steps, you're going to solve that problem you're struggling with, the stress of your life, whatever that might be. Right. Like you can't say, if you just do this once,
right.
If you just follow these steps, you will relieve your financial stress. Let's say that's the thing. You're saying, hey, if you learn this skill and you practice it and you develop it and you teach your brain how to change itself, then you can get the answers that you're looking for. But like, you can't tell them the exact path, right?
Right.
Like there's going to be trial and error, but now you've imparted a skill that they can use on their own to get there.
Yeah, this is actually funny. And now this is coming back to me planting the flag and the self-directed neuroplasticity stuff. Because when you understand actually how to use that skill, it's funny. The blueprint actually arrives in your own brain.
Your blueprint, not
your
someone else's
own blueprint,
right?
Not somebody else's. So like, it's funny because I really hammer home on my belief that understanding how to get inside your own brain and how you think and everything that happens in there. Like, I think that's the most important skill, because the guy sticking pills up his ass, like that's great. That's great. And maybe that's part of your blueprint. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like maybe that is part of your blueprint, but I don't know. But if you have the skill of getting inside your own mind to develop the blueprint based on all the information that comes to you, now you have something. But like you're right. Too often people just go after the blueprints. They want the guy that wants to, like I said, stick a pill up the ass, and next thing you know, you're like
everything's
fixed.
Solved. Right.
Everything's fixed.
Yep.
And then, but you have to put the blinders on. Oh my God. Sorry, I could go so much further on this, and I got to calm down because I'm starting to get.
This is what happens. Breakthroughs.
Yeah. So I think this is 13. So 13 in a row. I'm like, there's more to go on this that we're going to have to talk about some other time.
Yeah.
So the question then is, what about Supply Run? Because Supply Run is why Breakthroughs Live even exists. Okay. Yeah. And it's all about Supply Run. And what does that do?
Yeah. I mean, like, it is called technically Breakthroughs Live by Supply Run.
That's right.
And Supply Run is more of the compact master key to solving a lot of the problems we talk about here, because it is the shortest cut of shortcuts to do these very hard to do things, right? Like, it is compacting it all in 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about blueprints, essentially what Supply Run was and is, it isn't a blueprint. So we were basically, I think about Supply Run a lot because of the application process. It changed how we did Supply Run. Mm-hmm. And I remember us talking, we're like, we have to have them, the people who come with us on Supply Run, if you don't know what it is, supplyrunshow.com. We need them to check these boxes that state, I understand that we do not know if this is going to work out or not. i.e., this is not a blueprint with a known ending. It could blow up in our faces. It could blow up in 2 minutes before we get on the plane out of the airport, which almost happened. And then many times along the way, there are many points of possible failure. And so what we were describing was, we are going to go practice the skill of figuring shit out on the fly and trying very hard. A lot of trial and error. Our brains are going to hate it because it's very inefficient, but it's going to grow exponentially in those three weeks because of all of the things we are forcing it to do. Versus, hey guys, we're going to go on a trip and it's a tour and we pay our money and they take us on a tour and we end and we take some pictures and we're done. That is a blueprint. And if the blueprint fails, you get your money back. Right?
Yeah.
So Supply Run is the opposite of a blueprint. It is a framework of, we have a plan. And this goes back to creating your own blueprint, right? So if I'm creating my own blueprint to solve my own problem, I have an idea, there's a vision, I have a plan, but then you gotta go mess around, right? Like, you gotta go figure it out and like fail, succeed, fail, succeed, fail, succeed. And then by the end of Supply Run, we were like, well, we know what to do differently next time. But at the same time, you cannot replicate what we did as easily, right? Because it's not a blueprint for other people necessarily.
And I think what it did, especially, I mean, it always does it for you and I. We do it a lot. We've done it many times, and every time we learn something from it and how to just be able to build blueprints. But I think about JD, and like, he's pretty resourceful. He's a pretty resourceful dude, and it's not a blueprint of what to expect. I keep coming back to the first night we landed at Camp Kathmandu, and he was trying to like find a restaurant for us, and he went and got the restaurant that was the most quintessential of blueprints, meaning it was nice, it looked almost American, and
we 4 stars on Yelp.
4 stars on Yelp. Yeah, and he called that out. That was a blueprint. That was the blueprint. And we're like, we're not here for the blueprint. We're here for something else. Yeah. And we went and found the hole in the wall, and his eyes, I remember looking at his eyes just going like, oh shit, I don't know what's about to happen.
Oh man.
3 weeks later, he was the one looking for all the holes in the wall. And I couldn't get over it. And it was because he Supply Run broke the blueprint. That's what it was. And I don't know. He claims he talks a lot about how that's helped him, the minute you break the blueprint and build your own.
I mean, it comes back to the pattern interrupt. Like, we live in a series of blueprints, or we're chasing a series of blueprints, and Supply Run is one way to snap that blueprint and be like, we don't have one. We are literally doing this without a blueprint. So we're going to make it on the fly.
That's a really good way you put that, actually. Everybody's chasing a series of blueprints.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why life can be so, that's why people get on Instagram and doom scroll, because like they're just following blueprints. Mm-hmm. So I guess the question is so
what blueprints are you chasing?
What blueprints are you chasing?
Are you aware of the
what blueprint are you making for yourself?
Yeah.
Ah, man, that's super interesting.
That's like usually where we come back to this, like, what's the not really a solution, but like the takeaway that can be a solution, which is, are you aware of the blueprints you are running on, which is another way of saying patterns or programs, right?
Yeah.
Or are you aware of the blueprints you've been chasing and haven't been working out so well? And then what can you do to create your own blueprint, or what would that look like? It's more of just like envision doing it yourself and the struggle that might ensue and how it might be hard, but it might be the path.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about that. Be aware of the blueprints you're chasing.
Yeah.
How many different people are you following on Instagram for their, their health, their wealth, their whatever
lifestyle of any kind?
Yeah. And like, what's your blueprint? That's it. What's your blueprint? Yeah, don't get me wrong. Follow some of these things. I'm not an expert in metabolic health. I follow some people on that. Fasting, I do fasting. I'm not an expert on that. I need to follow some of the blueprint, but I also do what's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's what blueprints are you following and what blueprints are you creating?
Yeah.
Anyway.
There you go. That's the title of part 2.
Okay.
All right. So if you followed along, we are at 32 minutes, which is sort of our target, somewhere around there. Thanks for checking this out. Also, you can check us out in the description. Check us out. You can just look in the description of wherever you're viewing this, because it's all in kinds of different channels. And there is a Substack link, so you don't miss another one. Or if you do miss one, you can get the recording of it when it is published there.
Yeah. And then for anybody who's interested in what Supply Run is, Supply Run, we mentioned it at the beginning, but really Supply Run is the shortcut to all of these things. And there's no real shortcuts. It's just the experience that helps create that shortcut. So if you're interested in what Supply Run is, the TV show concept that we've been building, go to supplyrunshow.com. You can learn more there, and then also see if you want to be one of the couriers that we might bring along on the next one.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, just big gulps, huh?
Yeah. Well, see you later.
Bye.